The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much. Thank y'all.
Getting to have you back this time as our chamber champion.
Yeah.
Man, we could not have picked anybody better to be our chamber champion.
I was totally shocked, was not expecting that. That totally came out of left field. Sandy and I enjoy going to the Chamber Awards just because it's so fun. I walked in with Art Jordan, and little did we know, just walking in, he said, "This is my first one to come to," and I shared with him, man, these are awesome. It just to share and watch and see everyone and just, just celebrate. And then little did I know, he and I both were going to win an award later that evening. So just totally out of left field. And, just as Sandy and I were sitting there and it came time for that award, we're just having a good time. And then she's listening and, I'm just observing. And she said, "I think that's you." And I said, "I didn't know anything about this. That can't be." But then as you were continuing to talk, I said, "Wow, I'm just honored and humbled by that," and did not really know what to do or say.
It's always fun when you get to surprise somebody. And the great part, this award was given at our Celebrate Business Awards. We give out about 15 awards that night. And David walked in one day and he was like, "Hey, Sandy and I bought our tickets. We'll be there." And I was like, "Whoa, I don't have to tell anybody."
Don't have to try to tell lies to get people there.
No, they asked.
And it was fun because I got to surprise her as well.
She had no clue. And, and folks said, "Did you know?" And Sandy said, "I didn't know till they started talking." And then she grabbed my leg. She said, "That's you."
I love it.
I was touched for sure.
Well, David, for our listeners, David has been gosh, I don't even have the right words to say what you've been to us. It makes me emotional. He was board chair. He was on our board for many, many years and then was chairman of the board. But you're so much more than that to our team. You just became family to us and our friend. And you are family to so many people. Not only here at the chamber, but to the school. And you've got some big changes coming up this year.
Yeah, I certainly do.
Sorry.
No.
We talked about earlier shedding tears.
Yes, but yeah.
It's emotional. 30 years in education, 15-month process leading to where I'm at right now. That decide it's time to do something different.
Yeah.
God's blessed me so much. 40 years marriage, turned 60, sort of a 30, 60, 40 year.
30, 60.
But to win an award, just to give back, that's incredible. Was not expecting it. Kind of a special year for me. Thought 15 months ago, made this decision, talked to the board, wanted to transition, and I'm sitting in that transition spot right now, but I'm reading a book right now by Ryan Holiday, Right Thing Right Now. And as I'm reading that book, this is the right thing right now for David and his family, that to serve. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. Ultimately, to be able to be in the roles. I've been here with the chamber, and your team is incredible. Tony Dungy said it's about the journey, mine and yours, the lives we can touch, the legacy we can leave, and the world we can change for the better. And ultimately, that's what it's been about. And then Katharine Graham has a quote that says, "To love what you do and feel that it matters, how could anything be more fun?" I didn't get into education until I was 30. And when I did, it's never felt like a day of work. And then when you talk about giving back, ultimately, that's what you're supposed to do. And I know my mom would be proud to look down and see that. So
Mama would be very proud.
Yeah. So it's been a tremendous honor to serve, and now it's going to be a different chapter. I talked to my girls. They've heard it growing up, probably a lot of things that they Dad says, but I've asked them to think about it and always think, is the juice worth the squeeze in whatever you're doing? And I think that's ultimately what it is. So to me, if you're serving and giving back to your community, whatever that is, that juice is always worth the squeeze. And so there's no way I should be sitting here. Survived a crash on my way to a chamber event. It led the Lufkin Ford owner to say I was built Ford tough because I was driving a Ford, but you don't expect you're going to end up in a creek full of water upside down after turning over 5 times and you fracture your back. But that's really nothing to that. But you get to work the next day.
Yeah, he didn't even take a day off.
No way.
We had kids going to Austin to compete in the state track meets, so I needed to see them off, and so,
man.
but you walk into your office and you flip your desk calendar over, and Max Lucado quote that says, if God's got work for you to do, he's going to keep you around to do it. And that's hit home to me. And then when I survived COVID, you don't know what a 105 temp is that you're even going to make it through, but because your age and you're fighting cancer at the same time, you qualify for that infusion and save my life, and then go through the cancer surgery and go through the immunotherapy treatment and go through that and continue to go. So you fight that, survive the crash, COVID and cancer, but you got to continue. And so for me, serving, being there for those kids at school, for our community, heck, that's helped me continue. And that's ultimately what, what I'm supposed to do, I believe, is just continue, share my story, because it's my story, but it's God's glory when you sit back and look at that.
I've watched the last decade, how involved you've been here, and it's always been so striking to me. So I'll admit that when I first got involved with the chamber, it was selfish, right? It was like, how can I help to grow my business through this? And it was after doing that I discovered that there was a lot more than that. And watching you do that, coming from this education background, you didn't come to the chamber because you're going to get more students to come to the school, right?
Yeah.
It was truly this altruistic attitude that you have of the wanting to give back. And that's always been really striking for me. And as I've gotten more involved and learned more, and there's now this whole community, and there's so much more than it just growing your business or growing your career, whatever it is. And so getting to watch you do that for the last decade that I've been around for it and watch has been super inspiring. I wasn't there at the banquet, unfortunately. I was out of town, but congratulations, and so well deserved.
Well, thank you. I think, when you see what the chamber does, but Angelina County is the greatest place to live. Mm-hmm. And so when you for me, gotten to know so many people, watch their heart, and that's ultimately what it is, and be a part of so many things. There was one particular week, it was about a 10-day span. We recognized 3 businesses that were 40, 50, and 70 years in business here in Angelina County, and to hear their story, and so to be around all the folks that give back, it's just special. And ultimately, then you try to mentor those. So I see some of those young folks that are coming in now, and same with the superintendents that are coming in. You want to build leadership capacity in them, and Will Alvis, and you see Taylor Thigpen, Jeff Walker, those folks that I see all the time. Saw Will last night, and was able to visit and share and just try to pass on those things. Or when they reach out to me, it makes me feel good that, hey, David's done something that I can continue to give back. It may be in a different way, but I can still help those younger superintendents that are coming in, but also then those business folks or those on the board, and just look for those opportunities. And I think that's where, ultimately for me right now, the $1 million question, and literally I probably get asked 2 to 10 times a day, what are you going to do?
I was just about to ask you that.
and because, I'm in this emeritus phase right now, helping the new superintendent at Huntington. She's come on board 2 weeks ago, and so I'm there with her serving. So it's a unique situation, but a good situation. And then come April 1st, I'll transition into a different role there. But people ask me that, and when I literally say I do not have anything going right now, they say, well, we know you. I guess people have seen me enough to know that, I'm kind of hyper, and my passion and energy. Put 30,000 steps in at Disney one day this past week when we were there with our high steppers, and we're like, how many did you walk? But, looking for something to do. I know God's going to open some doors for me. I've got some opportunities, but whatever it is, I want the flexibility because, my youngest daughter will be a senior next school year. been a superintendent her entire education career. So for 1 year, for her to be one of one instead of one of 1,600. And then my grandkids, Harper and Hayes, live in Aledo. So I want to be able to be there for them. And so I know, a close friend of mine, mentor, said, David, the soup job's unlike any other. You need a year to decompress. And while I may do that, I don't know, will I write a book? Will I do some motivational speaking? There's some opportunities there. I feel like I've got a great story to share, ultimately, and try to help folks. And anything I do, though, I want that flexibility just so that I can be available, for my family in ways that I never have been, and so Sandy and I have got a big trip planned at the end of July that, it's just she and I. That hasn't happened since probably our honeymoon,
Yeah.
So look forward to that. She's retiring in June, so it's definitely going to be a different look for the Flowers family, so we'll be able to get up there and see Harper and Hayes, spend time with Taylor, Kyle, and their family there in Aledo, and then, of course, just be mom and dad. And ultimately, none of this would be possible without Sandy because she's, been there the whole time.
It's a good ride, David.
Yeah,
It's been a good ride.
it has.
And the fact that the chamber got to be a part of that ride, and that, I got to come into this role, and then I got you. And, man, you just gave me so many tools that had never been given to me. And I'm not sure they would have come along.
Yeah.
The friendships that have been created here are lifelong friendships.
Yeah, no question. That's been what's been special, to just, the great things that the chamber does, and to work alongside y'all and see that from the inside there, to be a part of the board and the executive board, and being on planning some great things and just some things that have come through. It's been fun. And then to then sit back and attend those things and go, wow, look at what we've done.
Yeah.
And your vision and the ladies that serve with you are incredible. And that's what I think is what makes Angelina County special. You can do some things that are out of the box or challenge. Or I know y'all challenge yourselves to think of those things and put those extra special things in there, just like the chamber banquet, to be a part of that and to see just how super cool that event is. And it is an event. And then this one was special because my daughter is in leadership tomorrow, and she was there.
She helped.
And so me in a role, and then for her to get to experience that and be a part of that with Dad was super cool, and to be there and watch those kids. And then Taylor was a part of that years ago and told sister about it, and so just to see those things and those things that we're building that leadership from young all the way through with the Leadership Lufkin program and so many others, when those folks come on our campus and we get to share and see, and then, the things that we're able to do, and just from the school side to participate, but then just everything in Angelina County. That's why it's so special, and everybody buys in. And when you set records, attendance at different events and things, and be a part of that, that's what's super cool.
I love that. I want to ask you about what's next a little bit more. I think this is always a super interesting conversation for me to have with people. I've seen people ask all the time when it's like, when you talk about someone who's achieved a lot of success in life, like, why didn't they just cash out and disappear? Someone who's maybe amassed a lot of wealth, why don't they? And I always say that it's because they're not wired that way, right? They wouldn't have achieved success if they were the kind of person who would just want to cash out and disappear and not have to ever work again. What does this next year look like? Are you worried about filling the time, or like for me right now, I'm ways from retirement still, but I can't imagine just waking up and not having something to do. Like, that almost is scary to me a little bit. But here's a funny story. So a group of ladies at the office that eat lunch at the same time, they're at lunch, and I'm in there, and that conversation is coming up about what that's going to look like when school starts next year, and David's not there or what, and so they pick on me a little bit about that because how I'm high strung and energy, and they said something. I said, what do I wear? Yeah, that's a good
because it's dress clothes. And they went, literally, what do you wear? I said, yes, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so
down.
Sandy said that she's going to have me take the dog out in my dress clothes, send them a picture, do everything I do is going to be in the clothes,
in the clothes.
and make mow or whatever out there. So And honestly, here's where it's at too, you know, and I've looked at it's health before wealth, because you could stay in education, enjoy the job I have. It's not even a job, you know, to be a superintendent of schools, but, you know, 15 months, 16, leading to where I'm sitting here right now with y'all. It's, while I don't know, whatever it is going to be, there would be I guess, a end result, you know what I mean? Just serving, looking for those ways. It may be new opportunities. Is there some part-time work out there? But it may put me out of my comfort zone a little bit,
Sure.
Especially if you try your hand at speaking and traveling around and doing that. That's going to be a little different for me. I've had a couple opportunities already. So what does that look like? Could it be some trainings, you know, whether with school boards or things like that? I just want flexibility to allow me to be dad, but then to be pop to Harper and Hayes.
Sure.
Probably, you know, within a couple years. Is that going to be a move for our family? It probably is. Presley's going to go off to college, and we're going to be looking to get to that Dallas-Fort Worth area there in Aledo to be near our grandkids. Sandy's giving me that directive. So when you think of the moves we've made and things, then there's plenty to do in the attic to sort through and what would go with us. So there'll probably be a lot of projects there as we get ready to sell and move here in a few years. So that would be ultimately to get there near Harper and Hayes. Presley, it looks like right now, looks like UT is her choice. Sisters was A&M. So there's
That'll be a good rival.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. But wherever Presley wants to go, we'll make that happen. Then we'll just see. But I literally, when I tell folks I do not have anything, and they look and know me, Tara, those closest to me go, that is not David, you know. And I said, I may just chill and sit there. And they're like,
Shoot,
there is no
you
way.
can't
And you
sit
know what?
still a day in your life.
I'm going to do that.
You'll be in that rocking chair and make some pieces, you know, on the floor.
Yeah. So really, and it is going to be different. So, and it's right now, it's a roller coaster because I'm in a little different role. And so, you know, you see change. And so sometimes that can be a challenge, but, you know, to me, it's exciting to get there. You know, a close friend of mine just had a stroke back in November. The hand he thought he was going to be dealt. And so then my decision had been made long before that, but then I want to be able to have time to do those things and not be tied down. And so whatever that looks like, Sandy and I may be at the lake on those jet skis, you know, during the day sometimes, but I literally do not have anything right now that would be saying I'm doing this on this particular day or when this starts. I mean, there have been some phone calls to me about those things, but and I've told everyone that's called, and I'm so thankful and just humbled that folks would call and see a role that I could be in. I said, I'm praying about it every day. God's going to open that door, but I've got to slow down to make sure that I listen for that and I see it. Kind of have an idea. The speaking intrigues me just because I think I have a story to tell and try to help others and still want to mentor those young educators, coaches. Don't know what that's going to be. There's still a little time. But as of right now, if you ask me August 1st, well, I'll be on a beach in the Dominican Republic.
In dress clothes.
But when Sandy and I come back and then Presley starts school, Friday nights will be football.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that leads in there.
Yeah.
But what happens during the day, it will be different. There's no question. This is all I've known for 30 years.
Sure.
And been a superintendent for 17, longest tenured soup in the county. As I sit here, 11. The average stay for a superintendent in a district is 3 years. 6 years in Zavala, 11. You know, worked in Central 12 years before getting there, from teaching and coaching all the way up to high school principal. Touched so many lives, but all those lives have touched me, all the students, the staff. And ultimately, my number one thing's been those relationships, and that's what's super special, to see those former players, the teachers, the former students that come up and talk to me. I had someone tell me last night, you know, you don't think about it. I'm just being David, but he said there was never a doubt that kids were first with you, David. And he said, I wish you the best. But from day one, we knew you were about kids. And so ultimately, that's it.
It's a great legacy.
Yes. And so that's what it's to continue to give back. What that role is going to be, I don't know. I mean, God's got a plan. I've said that numerous times here, just sitting with you all. But if I do nothing, it wouldn't be doing nothing. It's going to be something. It may not be a job I'm getting paid for, because ultimately it's not anything about money. It would be that serving and doing those good things and helping others is ultimately what I want to do.
Well, we're just proud to have been a part of the journey and the ride, and can't wait to see what new chapter opens up in the life of David and Sandy Flowers, because it's going to be some good ones.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we look forward to it, and just see what the year brings, and then on down the road, and but definitely going to be exciting.
Well, thank you for all that you do for the chamber, and thank you for what you do for my staff. Thank you for what you do for me. And it's a friendship that is a lifelong friendship, so it's not going anywhere.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. I'm excited to see what you do here in the future. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for listening again this week. We truly, truly appreciate you tuning in. If you'll do us a favor and rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening, it just helps other people in our area to find this show and tune into the stories that we tell every single week. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.